Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our final session. We are so excited to have Dr. Mechelle Roberthon with us. So, you guys, I have to tell you, I was telling people, oh yeah, I've had Dr. Mechelle on speaker list, and they were raving about this woman, which is amazing. So they were like, "You're gonna love her. She's amazing." So I'm really looking forward to this. I know we have people I know we have people that registered just to hear Dr. Mechelle. So I'm honored to introduce her for our closing keynote after what has been an amazing week of inspiration. So let me tell you about Dr. Mechelle. Dr. Mechelle Roberthon is a certified professional in talent development with a Doctor of Education degree from Baylor University and a specialization in training and performance improvement. She has an extensive background in training delivery, performance improvement, managing learning programs, and professional development instruction. With over 500 corporate courses taught and consistently high evaluation ratings, her dynamic teaching style is favored by learners. So I love that. Welcome, Dr. Mechelle. I'm going to go ahead and hide myself, but I will be helping you throughout the session, helping to manage the chat. We will take questions throughout. There is a Q&A pod. And we'll be looking for some of those reactions and emojis throughout the session as well. So,
all right.
It's all you.
Thank you so much, Cyndi. I appreciate that. Cyndi, excuse me, I said Cyndi. Hey, everybody. I'm so excited. Let me tell you, when people raise the bar high, I bite my nails because I appreciate the love. But, sometimes you're thinking, what if this is the session where I'm not good? And then the people are like, didn't like that Mechelle lady. So let's pray that this is a great session. But I am so excited to be here with you and to talk about this really important topic. Here's what I've learned in my prep for this. Once I hit share, I don't get to see the chat. And man, I love the chat. So before I start sharing my screen, I have not been in the conference this entire week except for the second to last session. So the one just before mine. So get me familiar in like 30 seconds. Tell me in the chat where you are listening from or tuning in from. So fill up the chat really quickly so I can see before it goes away. Okay, North Boston. I like that. Of course, the Bay Area is here. Colin Baton Rouge. Yes, Louisiana. That's my home base. California love. Texas, Virginia, Texas, California. Corpus Christi. Texas is my neighbor. So Oregon. We like Oregon in the house. This is great. Okay, awesome. I just wanted to make sure real humans were with me. Oh my gosh, we have an LSU grad. Hey, guess what? I'm also an adjunct professor at LSU. I teach a class one night a week, entry-level research class to students pursuing their master's and doctorate degrees, and they're my favorite little people. Florida, that's also my neighbor, not too far. Man, lots of Tiger fans. Okay, we love it. I'm saying lots of Tiger fans. It's the same two Tiger fans. I love you all. All right, very good. I am going to share my screen and then we are going to get going. Entire screen. Yes, it'll look weird for a second, but bear with me. I'm going to hide that, pull it up. All right. Here's what Cyndi told me, that I can still see the emojis that you use, not in the chat, but for the session. So if you can see my screen, please click an emoji so that I can verify that. Let's see. Okay, I am not seeing that, but Cyndi, am I good?
Good. We can see your presentation.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
There was tons of emojis, so it looks
like okay, good. Good, and I'll check in with her throughout the presentation just so I can get a pulse on the chat and answer some questions throughout. All right, so again, I am Dr. Mechelle Roberthon. People call me Dr. Rob for short because that last name just trips people up. Listen, I thought the last name was weird too, but I thought the guy was cute, and so I married him, and now I have to explain his name everywhere I go. So Dr. Rob will do, or just Mechelle, okay? You don't have to say the whole doctor thing. And today's session is called L&D Colored Glasses, Seeing Business Goals Through the Lens of Learning and Development. And so what drove this session title for me was my corporate experience in many L&D roles in many industries, and being fortunate enough to get an invitation to the table where business goals were being discussed. And what I found on these different L&D teams is that not everybody on my team was super interested in the business conversations or the business language. They could geek out all day about all things L&D, but when business terminology or business goals were being discussed, my L&D people, so in my lived experience, they just kind of tuned it out. They wanted to just talk about and listen to and do all the fun L&D things. I always sat and stayed in the room when what appeared like the boring conversations were happening, and I put on my proverbial L&D glasses and said, I'm going to look at every single thing they're saying through the lens of my role on this L&D team. So, I mean, the wheels started turning. I was thinking of stakeholders I can partner with. I would listen for need. Every time I would hear a need or a goal that's not quite being reached or a challenge in another department, and I would make notes. I would brainstorm right on my notebook or whatever vacant piece of paper I had around, and I would make follow-up things. So I mastered building great internal relationships just by solving problems for other department heads. So I might follow up with someone after the meeting and say, hey, Sarah, I heard you say that hiring is a challenge for you. I do offer a hiring class that I do once a month to leaders. I haven't seen you in that class, but I'd love to get you in there. So wink, wink. I got to push an L&D initiative. I would offer maybe to sit with her. Let me look at your interview questions. I could get with somebody on the talent acquisition team and partner with you. I mean, I had a slew of solutions to offer because I looked through the business goal or the need with my L&D lens. So I'm going to teach you that strategy and technique and how I did that. So let's get going. I want you to picture it. I want you, do you watch Golden Girls? Tell me in the chat. I know I can't see it, but I will see it because I'm going to go and read everything that you all are saying. Remember on Golden Girls, Sophia always says, picture it, Sicily, and she'll enter some sort of year. So here's what I want you to picture. Picture this. You're in a strategic planning meeting for work, and the CEO or the COO and CFO, they begin discussing the company's financial performance, and they're going to use some sort of acronym called EBITDA, which stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. You're like, what? EBITDA? I have no idea what they're talking about. So I'll tune out. Boring. I'm an L&D professional. What does that have to do with me? So you're going to check out until the cool learning and development portion of the meeting comes around. While you're waiting, the marketing department presents on key campaigns that they want to tackle this year. They're going to talk about their sponsorship dollars. They're going to talk about internal and external communication goals. And you think, this is not as boring as finance, but it's still not L&D. So you sit through an additional presentation from every business line, every department, passively listening and then patiently waiting for your turn to speak or for someone to present some sort of L&D need. That is typical of my lived experience on L&D teams. One of our greatest opportunities as L&D professionals is with the access we have to conversations regarding the company's greatest financial needs and challenges, and hearing from other departments and what they're working on or what their successes are, what their challenges are. One of our greatest opportunities is to look through those needs with our learning and development glasses. And so when we do this, we're being very strategic on what we're going to act on. And if we do this right, people are going to see us as an invaluable part of the team. And I'm going to share some anecdotes here in just a minute that's going to make this a little bit more real life. First, let me tell you what I mean by L&D glasses. So all I'm talking about here is the perspective you're looking through. And so I want you to think of everything you know about learning and development. Some of you are very niche in instructional design, some of you in training and facilitation, some of you it's consulting, some of you it's project management. I'm not asking you to look through a lens you're not skilled in. Whatever your skill is, I want you to apply that lens on whatever is being discussed in the workplace. I want you to look at the organization's objectives and strategies through your knowledge, through your skill set. I read this very interesting report. It's LinkedIn's learning report. This is their 2024 learning report. There is a section of the report that says the C-suite wants to talk. That's like the very first thing it shows on the report. The C-suite wants to talk. And it was saying how right now in 2024, there's roughly 58% of L&D professionals that say they have a seat at the table with executives. So that means 58% of people who completed this survey or this assessment said that they have the ear of the C-suite, they have access to the C-suite is reaching out to them to partner, and that is really, really good. But that's still a huge chunk of us who are not even getting access to that kind of information. And so if you are looking at your organization's goals and objectives with this lens, and you complete this survey, I think we'll see this number go up a little bit more because you would have demonstrated what value you can bring to the table. What my bio did not share is my L&D corporate experience. So let me just pause for a moment and share a little bit about that. So some in-house roles I've held and in certain industries. My very first role was at a corporate training center. So Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, all we did was training. We were probably perfect for companies who did not have an in-house L&D team, or they wanted to outsource some of the training. So at this corporate training center, we offer training in 3 areas. Technical training, so for your IT professionals, everything from CompTIA A+ to SQL servers and the like. We also offered application trainings. So I'm a Microsoft Office specialist. I taught PowerPoint and Word, Excel, Project. We also taught the full Adobe suite and a host of other application courses. And then the third bucket was professional development classes. And in my class on any given day could be somebody from for-profit, nonprofit, males, females, so much diversity in knowledge and demographic diversity. So I got exposure to so many different industries and needs. From there, I took an in-house L&D role in healthcare. Had never worked in healthcare a day in my life. And that was the first time I learned as L&D professionals, it doesn't matter where we work. L&D is L&D. I just need to know the lay of the land. And before you negate that, I have proof of my lived experience that the industry doesn't matter. L&D doesn't change there. Just the lay of the land. What are your regulations? Who are your governing bodies? What does compliance training look like? What are the departments? Who are the movers and shakers? What is the greatest need? Did healthcare for a while, was there during COVID, worked on a humongous human resources team. This health institution was 18,000 employees. HR was made up of 180 people, and that included talent acquisition, talent development, benefits, everybody, etc. From healthcare, I went to banking, boring old banking, but had a good time in banking. I ran the L&D department there. I was a vice president of talent development. And so first time working in banking, whereas my entire team was bankers who happened to become trainers. I was never a banker, but man, I know talent development like the back of my hand. So I was able to train them as novices, and that was very refreshing for me. And then they taught me banking. It was really great. So I'm going to use healthcare and banking examples as I work throughout this, so that I can tell you from my real lived experience how by putting these glasses on, it made me a very strategic thought partner with so many different departments that I have no experience in their line of work. So in healthcare, I did so much consulting with directors of nursing units. So consulting with the director of ICU and the burn unit. And they saw me as this valuable voice, and I was not even a nurse. So, and that's a whole stigma too. Are you clinical? Are you non-clinical? So it was an honor to get their respect, but I simply got their respect by showing up as a partner who could answer or assist with some of their greatest departmental challenges. So I'll share those stories throughout. Let's level set for a second, and let's just talk about the role of the L&D department. So the Learning and Development Department has 3 major duties, if you will. So let me just very quickly hit on some of these things. Starting on the left-hand side here, of course, one of the natural main roles of the Learning and Development Department is training and development. So, of course, people who work with you are expecting you to design training, implement training, facilitate it, or coordinate the facilitation of that training. These trainings could cover a wide range of topics. It could be onboarding, it could be technical skills, it could be leadership development, soft skills, compliance training, and so much more. Your goal under this bucket really is to provide employees with the knowledge and the skills that they need to perform their roles effectively. So they want to see increased productivity, they want to see enhanced performance, they want to see enhanced engagement, and they believe some sort of learning need is going to help with that. If we look at our middle bucket here, a huge purpose of the L&D department is performance management. And so this includes assessing or managing the performance of employees and their leaders. If you see gaps in their behavior and performance, employers are expecting you to have some ideas or solutions to close those gaps. Sometimes it's strategies beyond training and development that's going to help them with higher performance. Sometimes the focus here is on low performers or maintaining or retaining high performers. And so with the performance management bucket, you're probably working really closely with managers and with HR teams. You're going to most likely assist them with performance metrics. You're providing feedback here on best practices. Most likely, this is where that coaching skill comes into play. So you might coach employees directly or their leaders, or you might coach the HR business partners on how to have performance management conversations. And then if you look to the last bucket here on the right, OD stands for organizational development. So organizational development and change management is another huge function for L&D. And so this can include just about everything else. Organizational development could be the technologies and tools that we use, such as learning management systems and user management systems. This is advising the organization organizationally on big changes like mergers and acquisitions, new technologies, new processes and workflows. What I've typically found in my lived experience, no matter what industry I'm in, if a technology rolls out, like in banking, there was always a new technology, something on our mobile app for our bank, or a new service we were going to offer to customers. Learning and development always had a seat at the table. So the operations team and I were best friends. And although I didn't work a day in banking in my life as a banker, I was vetting and testing the technology because I always looked at it through a learning lens. So I didn't need to master the technology. I just had best practices on how to teach this technology. So sometimes it was me getting engrossed in the tech so I could either teach the tech, or maybe they already had technical people who could teach it, but I was training the trainers, giving them some technical things to make the training more engaging, to assist with learner retention, so on and so forth. So let's just say, for the sake of the presentation here, L&D, we're going to reduce L&D for the sake of this presentation, don't freak out, to these three buckets. So that's our general purpose of the L&D department, is these three things. So when we look at L&D in conjunction with business goals, a couple of things we want to be mindful of here. The L&D department should not have any goals that are in contrast or misaligned to business goals. The L&D department should not have goals that conflict or disrupt the business goals. They should be complementary to whatever the organizational goals are. Now, it's important to know that L&D could absolutely influence what those business goals are, but business goals also can be created without L&D in mind. And that's usually the case, right? There's a business goal that's created. Nobody's thinking about the L&D side of it, but that's where my glasses come in. I don't expect the CEO to think about the L&D need. He or she hired me to think about the L&D need. I should alleviate that need from the CEO. So even though these goals might present very financial, very business unit, business line specific, if I have on my L&D glasses, then I am going to give them a perspective that they probably hadn't considered before. All right. I want you to keep this in mind too, so that you look forward to looking at things through an L&D lens and not spend most of your time professionally in offense because no one consulted you about the business goal. I don't think that they I don't think that that's odd that they don't naturally consider you. I don't think they're being malicious either. Sometimes we have to teach them how to engage with our function. We have to teach them why we're invaluable. When I worked in banking, I didn't initially get invited to all the operations meetings. We had 42 locations. Most people didn't even know I existed. I worked at the home location in this very specific city and state. So I had to spend some time introducing myself. I had to do a listening tour, get to know all these different departments that exist in banking. Prior to working in the bank, I really thought a bank was reduced to just a branch, the tellers, the people inside the branch. I learned that there's a gazillion departments that make the bank work. One of the coolest things I learned was that when I make a mobile deposit, it is not some automatic function for that money to hit my account. It was humans who make that post actually manifest into my account. That entire department exists. They sit in cubicles. There's another department that does all the technology for the mobile app. There's another department that processes all the loans. That's all they do. There's another department that says yay or nay on loan decisions. They never talk to customers. They're just looking at numbers, looking at data, saying you get a loan, you don't get a loan. Then there's relationship managers. They are highly customer facing. I mean, my gosh, it was so intricate that I had to spend time getting to know product knowledge and knowing and learning the business, right? So if they're not naturally including learning and development, I didn't see that as malicious, or why don't I have to sit at the table, or approaching it with hostility. I needed to get engrossed, show the value, make some suggestions, because that's how I showed the value. They didn't come knock on my door for it. I started calling up the chief banking officer. Hey, John, I was in that meeting earlier today, and I heard you say one of the goals for the commercial bankers is to increase this certain product that we have. I would love to talk to you a little bit more about how I might be able to assist you with that. Here are some services that I can provide as the VP of Talent Development. Have you considered? And then I would kind of do like a discovery call with him and ask some questions. And I would then make a suggestion. Would it be helpful if I provided X, Y, and Z? Oh yeah, Mechelle, that would be great. Now I would provide the list and I would work with him on it. If it was a PowerPoint, I'd help him create it. If it was, can you work with a couple of my commercial bankers to create a training for us? They'll do the training, but could you make sure, the slides are not wordy and that they're thinking of how we can retain this? Absolutely. Oh, that's right up my alley. Once I started doing that, department heads started reaching out to me saying, hey, I heard you did some cool work with John and the commercial bankers. I was wondering if you can do that for the treasury management department. I was like, sure. As soon as you tell me what treasury management is, happy to help. Then the compliance director would reach out. Hey, I'm having low numbers for our quarterly compliance. What are some strategies and techniques you have? And before you knew it, I had too much work and not enough people to help me with it. But it was because of this technique that we're going to dive a little bit deeper into. One of the things I want you to remember about our function as L&D professionals is that our function is an expense. We are not a directly revenue generating department. And that's important to know because the goal of any business is to sell their products or services, or if it's a nonprofit, it is to assist those most in need with getting their products and services. So revenue is going to be top of mind for them. So when people say, well, it's all about the money is how you keep your job. The money is how the lights are on. I don't mind it being all about the money to the CFO, the COO, and the CEO. I want these men and women focused on all about the money. Let me focus on the development of it. Let HR focus on the people engagement and policies of it. If everybody was doing what they were supposed to do, we're all focused on different things, which should lend itself to it being about the money. So I know that I'm an expense department. I cost the company money. I'm not directly generating revenue. So it's important to show the worth of this expense. And I do that by actively partnering with stakeholders to help the business achieve those goals. So before I pause for questions, I just want to practice this first. I want to show you what it looks like. And then I'm going to teach you the strategy, and then we'll practice another example. So let's practice. I'm going to let you look here on the screen, and then I'm going to stop sharing in a second so that I can get in the chat and then answer some questions. All right, let's put on our L&D glasses. I actually do have some sunglasses here. I almost put them on, but I thought Mechelle, you cannot see without your actual glasses. So let's not do that. All right, here we go. So ABC Bank has a business goal to increase their small business administration or SBA loans by 50%. They have identified the following key performance indicators or KPIs. They have identified number of SBA loan applications. So that's the number of not the number of customers. It's the customers and the number of applications they are completing, because one customer could complete maybe more than one if they run several businesses. The loan approval rate, the loan disbursement amount, customer satisfaction scores, and then the market share of SBA loans. So with competitor banks, how many of those banks, what percentage of SBA loans do those banks have, being aware of that? Let's just say those are the KPIs. The only thing really missing from this example for real life is those KPIs would be quantified in real life. There would be numbers listed next to each of those bullets so that you can know exactly what you wanted to achieve. Now let's put on our L&D glasses. And here's what I want you to think about. Here's the prompt. What are some L&D initiatives that you could map to these KPIs? Or in other words, what is in your wheelhouse to offer up as assistance? Let me repeat that. To offer up as assistance. You're not guaranteeing a solution. You're not saying I need more information. Just if you had to present a list of possible solutions within your wheelhouse on the L&D team, what are some things you might offer up to assist this bank with reaching their goals? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And then I want to look in the chat and see what cool ideas that you all may have. So let me, get to where you are. Oh, Cyndi, I might, just playing. Let me stop sharing. Okay. Woo, back in the chat. You're on mute.
Still waiting for some of those. People are thinking. The wheels are turning.
Yes. I do see Karen put training for potential loan applicants to complete applications well. Love that. Okay, what else? And I do have some things.
I would look at the training. I mean, just talking off the cuff here, I would look at any kind of maybe micro learnings on how to talk about or sell those SBA loans to customers that are in the bank.
That's right. That's right. Oh, here we go. We're flowing now. All right, let's scroll up here. Emily, number of loan applications, training on how to help clients. Yep, same thing. Fill out the application. Training for loan officers to expand their market. Oh, that's good. Oh, I like this one, Janelle. Job aids for those assisting customers completing applications. Training for approvers to learn how to know whether the loan should be approved. Oh, that's good. That's the credit team, Emma. That's good. Training for loan officers to create efficient processes. I would like to ask a few more questions to learn how the loan apps are being presented to folks at SBA events. Love that. And then a micro learning again. That's so good. So of course we need more data, right? But this is already getting us looking through our L&D lens to see how we might add value or assistance in achieving this goal. One of the things I thought about was small business administration loans, product knowledge. How much do the people selling these loans even know about the product? Compared to the other banking products, does this one sell the least? And if so, what does that product knowledge training actually look like for this? Are they confident when they are pitching this loan to other people? Are they accurate when they're pitching this? I would definitely work with the department head. Who are your SBA gurus? Which of these bankers do exceptionally well pitching this loan to customers? How might I partner or coordinate a training with them as well? A couple of more comments I want to read here. I also think there's a very unique opportunity to partner with the SBA to help to walk potential customers through the process. Yes. I actually have that as my second suggestion. My guess is the products may change from time to time. Yep, that's really good. SBA is not one size fits all. There are various types. You are absolutely correct. Offers may differ. Yes, this is so good. The second suggestion I have is exactly what Toddy said earlier. I would reach out to the Small Business Administration and see what sort of free resources or learning resources they might be able to provide as well. Someone else said this earlier. Another suggestion I had was working with the credit team, those who say yay or nay. Are they doing it equitably, not just equally? Are they considering all these other factors? Banks have this federal act called the Community Reinvestment Act, where they have to do so much financial education and literacy to impoverished areas in their communities. And I want to know, as it relates to that act, is there an opportunity with small businesses to show some leniency here or something along those lines according to SBA guidelines? So it could be a simple conversation to whoever runs that department to say, I sat in that meeting. I heard what you said about that goal. I have some ideas here that I'd like to run by you, but ultimately I just want to learn more about what's worked and what hasn't worked, and to see how my department might be able to partner. And you know what I would bring? Every idea you all just put in the chat. I'd open up Microsoft Word, paste all these things y'all just said in the chat, and I would keep this handout as my cheat sheet talking to that department leader, and just say, and I would just have it there as a reference and just say, hey, can I just share with you some things I've been kind of noodling on to see if this might be a help to you? All right. So that's what I mean by putting my L&D glasses on, looking through that lens when I'm listening to what could seem like a work goal that has nothing to do with me. Let me tell you, if that was a real goal and you worked at a bank in L&D, that goal has everything to do with you, because the more loans we sell, the more revenue we're making, and that might increase my chances for a cost of living increase, a merit increase, a bonus. It might widen my department's budget. Maybe if we do so well, I can bring in the big dollar speaker for the leadership program I'm creating. The business making more money is good all around. And so we have to see ourselves as a part of those goals and not disassociated from them. Is this making sense? Y'all let me know in the chat or use your reactions. I haven't shared my screen back yet, so I can still see you. All right, there we go. We got some thumbs up here. All right, I see 36 of you are on with me, so stay with me. I'm going to get to questions at the end. I see I'm at my halfway mark, so if it's okay with you, I'm just going to reshare and keep on rolling. I know the people are with me, so that makes me feel real good. All right, so I am sharing my entire screen again. Let's bring it back up. That's an example I didn't want to show you just yet. Let me hide that. All right, we're back in business. Okay, so here's my 3-step process for putting on your L&D glasses. Number 1, you need to know what your business's overall goals are. And I have a slide at the end that I'm going to pull up in case you don't know what that is. I'll give you a suggestion on, if you're not privy to that information or if your company doesn't create it, what you could do. Because I've been there before too. So know what the overall business goals are. That's number 1. Know the KPIs for each of those goals. So the key performance indicators. KPIs are not the overall goal. Here's how I describe KPIs. They are the elements or the factors that, if achieved, the overall goal is automatically achieved. So they are what are the key factors here in achieving this big goal? So for example, and I want y'all to put this in the chat for me, if you were planning a cross-country trip here in the United States, you were going to do a cross-country road trip. You're going to start from Louisiana and you're driving to the Bay Area. I want to go hang out with my Bay Area friends who are here. Tell me some key elements that I need to consider to reach the Bay Area from Louisiana. I'm actually going to stop sharing again. All right, let's see what we have here. Miles traveled, gas, miles per day, gas, places to stay, resting points. No one said anything about food. I'm going to be hangry if there's no snacks, right? Weather, oh, that's a good one. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the food. All right. Very good. Yes. Okay. So let's say all those elements were the KPIs. Food is a KPI. Miles traveled per day is a KPI. Gas mileage. I said mileage. Gas could be a KPI. Hotels is a KPI. These things. So when I say KPIs are different from business goals, if I'm going to set mini goals through my KPIs, these elements. And if I can achieve all these things, then I will reach the Bay Area from Louisiana. I will achieve the overall goal. Okay. I always tell the story about how my brother was doing a trip. He drove from Louisiana to North Carolina, maybe. And I remember my brother reached out to me and he said to me, hey, can I borrow some money for this trip? I have everything paid for already. I just need some money, for little knickknacks and things like when we stop. I said, well, you don't have enough money for this trip. And I'm like his little big sister. I'm technically 15 months younger than him, but I act older than him, always have. So he's like, oh gosh, yes, I do have enough money. I am just merely asking you for food money. I said, then you don't have enough money for this trip. He said it again. You do not have enough money for this trip. So this was a KPI he didn't account for. He said, I got my room, check. I have did all the maintenance on my car, check. Making sure my car is road ready. I have reached out to the people I'm meeting with in North Carolina, check. And I thought, but you didn't count for this. And this is a part of the trip. So I was essentially saying you cannot ignore this bucket, this KPI, if you're trying to reach this big goal. And unfortunately, no, I did not cave. I was like, nope, sorry, you should have mapped for that. That's a whole nother therapy session. All right, let me get back to sharing my screen here before I tell y'all all the family business. All right, so let me get back to sharing. Let's get you pulled back up. All right, so you need to know the overall business goal. So if this was my brother, his overall business goal was to drive from Louisiana to North Carolina. You need to know the KPIs for each of those goals. So for that specific goal, one area is where lodging, room and board. Another one is food. Another one is car maintenance. Another one is making sure his family, if they have medicines and all those things, that they have all that they need. And then the third approach you're going to do here in a business setting is to brainstorm possible ways to map L&D initiatives or L&D solutions or L&D ideas to each of those KPIs. I don't want you to try to tackle the big goal itself. You are going to, it's more manageable for you to work on the KPIs than it is the big goal, because the big goal could really feel like you're trying to boil an ocean. It feels too big sometimes to achieve. So you're thinking, oh gosh, I'm so overwhelmed by that. I don't even know where to begin. Begin in one of the KPI areas. So as it relates to this sub goal or this sub key element, here are some L&D ideas I might have to assist you here. And then, so that's really the 3-step process to put your glasses on. What I don't have represented on the screen is what would really happen after you put your glasses on. So in real life, after you've done these 3 things, you're going to want to pitch these ideas to key stakeholders, get their buy-in. Is it all right if I run some ideas by you that could help with a couple of your KPIs? Then maybe you do the work for them or you do the work with them, depending on what solution they want to see you enact. And then, of course, you're going to measure and report on progress. That's it in real life. Pitch the idea, get their buy-in, do the work with them or do the work for them, depending on which initiative they selected, and then measure and report on progress. Let's try another one. Big Town General Hospital has a business goal to maintain a turnover percentage of 11% or lower for all their team members. They've identified the following KPIs: overall voluntary turnover rate, overall involuntary turnover rate. So these are people who were terminated. Departmental and role-based turnover rate. So looking at turnover by business units, ICU, emergency room, oncology, ortho, neuro, stroke, etc., or by roles, looking at nursing turnover separately from physician turnover, separately from cafeteria and maintenance turnover, exit interview data, employee engagement satisfaction scores. Again, what's really missing from this scenario are quantifiable numbers here for the KPIs. So if you were putting on your L&D glasses, this is not after you've put them on, but I'm in the process of following my 3-step process for putting on your glasses, look at that last bullet. What are some possible solutions you're looking at through an L&D lens as it relates to this big goal here on the screen? And Cyndi, what I'll do this time, I won't stop sharing, but if you can maybe come off mute and read some of those, that would be great.
Yep, I see. Analyze reasons for voluntary and involuntary terms to identify possible training gaps.
Okay.
Training for HRBPs on how to conduct effective exit interviews.
Oh, that's good.
Yep, those are the 2 that are in there now. Still waiting for people to update.
Okay. This is good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What else, y'all? Especially for involuntary, what I find is that that's not a bucket that most organizations are even interested in, because they'll say, I didn't fire you, you fired yourself. How do you know the firing wasn't unjust or unequitable or inappropriate in any way?
Yeah. So we have a couple more. We have leadership development regarding performance management, coaching, one-on-one mentorship tips, evaluation of employee engagement satisfaction scores to look for any patterns or trends, turnover by tenure, do a survey for engagement and satisfaction and address the issues with training, management training to address issues.
Yeah, that's good.
Look at onboarding to see if sufficient or if an improvement is necessary to support retention.
Okay. This is good. Okay, let's stop it there. So in real life, like I told you with the previous example, I would take everything y'all just put in the chat, like literally control copy, control paste it either in an email or in a document, request a meeting with said stakeholder and saying, hey, such and such. I know that in the meeting earlier, they talked about our organization as a whole maintaining a turnover percentage of 11% or lower. I would like to meet with you because I heard you when you said that nursing turnover in your department is still a struggle. And I want to see you succeed in that. I have some ideas I was thinking about. You have 30 minutes for us to meet and discuss. And then I have my bulleted list of possible solutions. I don't fire them all off. I don't rattle them all off. I just kind of have them there as a cheat sheet for me. And as I'm asking them probing questions and additional things I want to know, I might start saying, oh, yeah, I thought about that. And then we just kind of brainstorm, get some buy-in and say, okay, look, hearing everything that you said to me in our meeting just now, if we had to prioritize this, it seems like we need to look at existing data first. And, I might say, hey, I know Billy in the HR department. Let me get with the HRIS analyst, get some of this data pulled for you. And then we can look at it by a quarterly basis, yearly basis. And from there, we can maybe come back to my cheat sheet of potential solutions and see which one might fit. How does that sound? Now, all I'm doing here, I haven't fixed anything in this meeting. I just started partnering with them. I am trying to give them a preview of what it's like to work with me. I'm trying to give them a preview of how I think and how I'm thinking about their issue, how I am showing myself as selfless and how I want to help. That leader is going to answer the phone when you call. That leader is going to want to talk to you because you are saying, I want to attach myself to you to help you achieve this goal. And then you're going to bring in other partners as you see fit. So this, your relationships with people by happenstance of being invaluable will greatly improve as well, just by putting on your L&D glasses. So not checking out when a business goal doesn't directly seem to be related to L&D. It is just looking at all goals with that lens. So as I prepare to close here and leave some room for Q&A, I want to address maybe 3 possible challenges that you might face. And these might be some of the questions listed here. Number 1, you might be saying, what if I have issues, Mechelle, being invited to the table to even hear these business goals? One of the suggestions I'm going to always say is always start with your immediate leader first. And if you are the leader, I mean that. Who do you report to? And I'm expecting my immediate leader to be way more informed than I am. I know there's a whole lot of, Mechelle, they are not. What if they're not invited to the table? We can talk about that a little bit more. But I would start with them. And I've certainly been in those situations too, where I've had to say, what's the business goals? And when they say, I don't know, I've been asking such and such about that. I'll say, my next thing I might say is, and I'm kind of leading into number 2, is could we at least set a departmental goal, something that we want to focus on as a department, so that I can have some sort of guidance or direction to go in. Another thing that's going to be helpful here, kind of bleeding into number 2 again, before I go back to number 1, if the company doesn't have goals at all, I've asked my leaders in the past, what have you heard the CEO or the C-suite or anybody in senior executive roles say was crucial or important? If they don't know, perhaps I can do a listening tour myself and ask some of those questions to department heads. What seems to be super crucial for you? Is there a business goal driving this department goal? So those are just some strategies that might be able to help. Going back to number 1, I might ask my leader if they're not informed either. I would ask them, do they know who at the company can give us more insight as to what the organization as a whole is focusing on? Usually they might drop some name. It might not be the right name, but it's a lead. And I would work this thing like a detective. Listen, I am a law and order junkie, okay? SVU, I can say the intro like the back of my hand, okay? So I would work this thing like Captain Olivia Benson. I would have my little notepad tucked away in my pocket. Give me a name. Who might can assist me here? Oh, Amber in HR. I'm calling Amber. Hey, Amber, I was talking to my leader. I'm trying to get an idea of where the business goals are housed. I can't find it on the internet. Oh, Mechelle, I don't know. Maybe Jennifer knows. Okay, Jennifer, could you introduce me to Jennifer? I'm going to work it until I find this thing out. And all I essentially want to know is what is important to the company. It is okay if it's not pretty, if it hasn't been communicated. What's important to the company so that I can make sure I'm aligned there. Okay. And then looking at number 3, another challenge you might face is, what if the stakeholders within my organization don't want to work with the L&D department? I would want to know a little bit more about that history first. They probably just don't know the full value of what the L&D department can bring. Maybe they were burned by bad L&D professionals before you, or in other roles. So I would want to know, have they ever worked with the L&D department before? If so, on what? What was their satisfaction with it? And sometimes they don't know how L&D can add value. There was one person in particular when I worked in banking who didn't really see any value in the talent development department. Truth be told, and I was having so much success throughout the bank with so many different business units, but this guy did not see it. And I had been on several calls with him. And so that I didn't make a snap judgment, I waited after trying to partner with him several different times. And we almost got close partnering on one initiative. But essentially, he just wanted me to do all the work when training was his role too. He just wasn't on the talent development team. He had this very niche, very specific banking role, but part of his role was to teach because he was the technical expert. So I told him how I might be able to assist him, even from designing his PowerPoint and maybe some talking prompts, but I can't fluently give this training because I don't know how to answer these questions. He just would not take me up on it. So I was like, okay, no problem. But I did get some history before I just said, I can't do it with this guy. So I learned that other people were saying, yep, working with him. He tried to do the same thing with me. He just does not like to train. I even maybe offered one of my team members to just engross herself in all the things so that she could do the training for him. I actually was going to give in to that. But then she wasn't getting all the invitations to all the technology meetings to learn the training. And I thought, okay, we have literally tried everything. But what I did was get all the historical background knowledge so that I can fully understand what's the barrier here with us working together. Again, if you are helping with these departments' greatest needs successfully, not like you're solving it, but you're moving the needle forward. You're showing yourself as a consistent partner with your knowledge and skill set on their business need. They are going to want to work with you time and time again. All right. Okay. So that is essentially my presentation. I know we're going to get into the Q&A, but before we do, I wanted to talk to you really quickly about two really cool things that I think you might be interested in, or at least I hope you are. The first thing I want to tell you really quick, it is fresh off the press. Y'all are the first group to hear about this. My talent development anniversary is coming up in April, and I'm celebrating all month long. And one of the things I'm doing to celebrate is I am offering a free webinar series. It's going to be focused on employee development and internal mobility. And it's called Steering Talent Towards Success. It's going to start on April 8th. And it's going to run every Monday after April 8th. It's from 11 a.m. to 11:30 Central Standard Time. And every week is going to be a very specific challenge we're going to tackle as it relates to employee development and internal mobility. I'm trying to get companies to nurture existing talent within their organization. Sign up is live on my website. Again, nobody knows about that just yet because I'm not promoting it until the first week here in April. But if you go to drmichellerob.com/events, you can easily sign up for that webinar series so that we can geek out a little bit more on some learning and development things. And because I know I don't have all day with you, I wanted to do something so exclusive to this conference. And so something really cool that I'm going to offer as a special is to do one-on-one spark sessions with me and your L&D team. So I just want to ignite some creativity. I want to put on our L&D glasses. I want you to tell me about business goals that y'all are having a hard time mapping an L&D initiative to. Help you tackle these challenges, see some opportunities together, completely free. There's no catch here. I just want to learn what's happening in your organization and just add myself as a thought partner with you. So that is not a public link. So once I stop sharing my screen here in a moment, I'm going to post that in the chat. I'm going to close registration for that at 7 o'clock. So it's pretty much first come, first serve. You'll see my Calendly pop up. You find a date, invite whomever you want within your organization. We'll get on Zoom for an hour. You're going to tell me all about whatever it is you're stuck with or what you want me to add assistance on. And then we'll geek out for 1 hour on that. So again, I'll drop that link in the chat for us to do a spark session where I can just hear about the cool things going on within your organization and how I might help you map some L&D initiatives to those things. So at the most, I hope you leave those spark sessions with a laundry list of potential solutions or things that could get these barriers out your way so that you can be a strategic partner within your company. All right. That's all that I have. So Cyndi, I am going to stop sharing.
All right. Thank you. Wow. What a great session. So many good nuggets in there for us as L&D professionals, and especially a lot of the people that here are transitioning into this career. It's really good to give them these like high level ideas of your impact and how we talk a lot about, you know, aligning L&D goals to the business. So thank you for really like painting that picture for everybody. I love that. It was really, really super helpful.
Absolutely.
So there are a couple of questions, and so we want to make sure to answer a couple of those. So I'm going to show them on the stage here.
Okay.
So which of the organizational buckets would be responsible to create competency pathing for employees? All of them?
Let's see. Let me go back to my slides here. I'm not going to reshare. I need to have it up in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely, that would be performance management to me. When I look at competency pathing, I'm thinking about the skill set and knowledge that's needed for them to perform in whatever role. So that to me sounds like performance management.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let me mark that one as answered. And then, do most larger organizations carve out a change management function?
You know, in my lived experience, I haven't seen that. Man, that would sound so great. The most I've seen is a dedicated project management function, and they're supposed to serve as change agents in these organizations. So I've seen the project management people try to gather all the stakeholders, store all the issues, kind of like what you're doing right now. Like you're putting the questions on stage. When they're answered, you mark answered. I've seen project management people function like that. their limitation, though, is they're not thinking about the impact of the change prior, post, or during. Sometimes they might say, well, can you get that notification out to the team before you make this big announcement? We want to make sure that this team is aware before the entire company is aware. But they're not always thinking of internal communication challenges and employee development and skills that they need. So unfortunately, in my lived experience, I don't have experience with big companies having change management functions. But if someone else has, I would love to hear from you on that.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that one. It's pretty rare. Okay, yeah. There was a comment in the chat that I'm going to move on to the stage as a question because it was a really good one. Okay. Do you ever find yourself wanting to suggest different KPIs? For example, I have a client who says their KPI is increased confidence for a particular procedure. It's vague and they have no measurement of current confidence level or plans to measure it.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Karen. And you can suggest different KPIs as well. I think in a business sense, if it's an overall business goal, it might be a little bit more difficult for somebody in L&D to impact an overall KPI changing. But if you are asking this as a consultant, kind of one-on-one working with them, I think they would absolutely be open to a KPI changing, because you're not changing it for the sake of changing it. You're saying this KPI could be stronger and increase the chances of it actually being achieved if we focus more on this instead of increased confidence. So that's not unusual whatsoever. You just need to maybe teach them how to strengthen KPIs and give them the value of why we need to strengthen it a little bit more.
Yes, love that. Okay, let's see. We have, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and show this one. This is about your free offer. Do we need to enroll in each of the 4 sessions in April individually, or is it registering for the first session adequate for the whole series?
Great question. You do need to enroll in each of the 4 sessions individually. All 4 of those sessions are different, and they're all on the site.
All right. What about L&D newbies? What do you recommend for us?
Oh, that's so broad, Rita. But I love the question. Oh gosh, let me see. As it relates to your L&D glasses, I mean, really, it is to follow this 3-step approach in terms of, here's the big secret. Putting on your L&D glasses is another way of me saying, be respectfully curious. It is just being curious about how you can potentially assist with a goal through a learning and development lens or an idea. So to sharpen this skill a little bit, I know a lot of resources have been mentioned in other sessions, so I'm going to feel like a little bit of a broken record. But a community like this, I think, is absolutely helpful for you to be able to post questions and ideas to say, I'm trying to sharpen my ability to offer L&D suggestions and initiatives in my role. Here's the issue I'm trying to assist with. Can anybody help me? So like these open forum groups like this one or ATD would be helpful. I am an ATD national member as well. And so I love reading the blogs on the website. I also I think the biggest national membership perk for me is the tools and resources, the templates. So I would peruse some of these other memberships that you're a part of to see if that can help. But the truth be told, you'll suggest more ideas as a newbie with the more you engross yourself in learning L&D. And the way you learn that is from reading magazines to reading articles. This is how I learned the language of the industry, reading case studies. I want to hear what other people have presented on and how they fixed it. And that might spark something in me too, going, ooh, that was interesting. I don't know what that is, but I'm glad I have this vocabulary now in my head. So I fully engrossed myself when I first got into this industry, and I did it by the suggestions I'm giving you.
Yep. Thank you. That was great.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one from Emma. How can those of us who are L&D team members, not leaders, practice using our L&D glasses so that we're ready for potential future conversations with leaders as our careers progress?
Love this question. A cool cheat code I have for you, and it'll help you with managing up as well. You can still put your glasses on as a team member, but you're going to have the conversation about your ideas with your leader instead of the client specifically. So, if your leader is asking you to work on something, so maybe you're not even getting your directives or your projects on your own. Leader says, hey, we need you to do this in the LMS. It's for the commercial department. Okay, great. I would say to my leader, could you tell me a little bit more about what they're trying to use this for, or the overall goal that they're working on? I'm just curious. I don't get to learn about these goals really, and I want to make sure I'm doing a great job. So I would try to probe my leader for insights. If I came up with some ideas in addition to the directive that they're given, I would ask my leader, hey, when you have a moment, can I run some ideas by you that I've brainstormed that might be helpful here with this department leader, and see what their appetite or reception is to you presenting those ideas. But I want my leader first to start seeing me as a thought partner, and to let them know that I am thinking, actively thinking about ways to help our clients, in-house.
Yeah, that's solid advice, and actually something that's working for me in my current organization. I'm a team of one,
Mhm.
and I don't get to sit at the table and hear the business challenges. So I'm relying on my boss to share that. And so as I'm hearing about issues happening, I ask her directly, hey, I heard this. Can I offer a
Mhm.
suggestion when you meet the executives
Yeah.
again? Offer this. And that's been super helpful as I'm trying to like build a team at my business. So,
Yeah. And too, Cyndi, I've said to my leader in a very respectful way, um, do you mind telling me what's driving this project, or what's
mhm,
driving
mhm,
this assignment you're given? I'm
mhm,
super excited about it. I'm just curious as to if did something happen.
mhm.
Sometimes that information helps me to fill in holes, answer something that maybe the department leader didn't request. And normally my leaders have been very forthcoming.
Yeah.
And lastly, I know we're just 2 minutes over here. I didn't say my final industry before I went out on my own, working for myself full time, was higher education. I was the vice president of student services at a proprietary school. So that's when I left L&D for 10 months, and was full blown operations. And somebody asked me recently, they said, did you like operations? I said, goodness, no. I missed L&D so much. We have all the fun. So it is so good to be back. And now I'm doing it for myself full time. So
Yeah, I'm enjoying this session so much. I think we could talk for another hour easily. So thank you for joining us. We still have a few other questions in the chat, so maybe
yeah.
I'll pass those to you. Or if people want to stay on, we don't have to leave yet. But before anybody goes, I do have a couple of just, I want to switch gears just for a minute.
Okay.
Thank you to everyone who attended. Thank you to our speakers. Look at all of these amazing people that were part of this incredible week. We've kind of, been pinching ourselves in terms of how this turned out, because it really was just an incredible week. We had sponsorship, and so that certainly helps with some of the costs of putting this together. We had a lot of people in the background working to reach out to people in our networks to come in and be and share your knowledge. So thank you to everyone on the program team. Thank you to the donors. These are the people that paid. So of course we offer the conference is free, but we wanted to make a special thank you to those of us that did pay for this. Every bit helps, and there is some cost to delivering these conferences. I want you to invite all of you to join, and with that membership, I'm telling you, it's the best $75 you'll spend in terms of growing a network. And then, if you don't mind, Mechelle, I'm going to just put a couple more questions on if you have the time. Okay. So Toddy wants to know, if we have a limited budget, which has more value, ATD or SHRM?
Ooh, Toddy, I am 1,000,000% biased here. It depends on what you need more. So, okay, yeah, I'm not so biased. It depends on what you need more. I was going to say ATD, ATD. I'm like diehard ATD. I've published a TD at work
Mhm,
issue
mhm,
in September of 2020, and I'm a CPTD. ATD Ice is in New Orleans, by the way. Hello, come to Louisiana,
I'm going to be
everybody.
there. I got to find you.
Hey!
We'll get together.
Yes, come to Louisiana and hang out with me. I love ATD for all things talent development, but I would absolutely, and I'm not a SHRM member. I'm not even a part of my local SHRM chapter, but I speak for them all the time. I've been an opening keynote for their conference, closing keynote, MC, everything. I would use SHRM if my role was more specific to policies, procedures, employee relations, those things that tend to be SHRM specific.
So I also am probably a little biased. I love ATD. I'm a board member for ATD Orange County. So again, shout out to ATD because I'm in learning and development. For me, it's pretty relevant. It's been really helpful. Mm-hmm. Lots of resources. I belong to a national and a local chapter. I belong to SHRM as well. But here's a tip: if you are a student, you get a discount for ATD. So if you are a student at all, you know that membership is usually half the cost for the local chapter. So check into that. If you're having a hardship, like you lost your job, but you still need these resources, reach out to the local chapter and see if they're willing to, help someone who's going through a hardship. So that's just a suggestion there.
Yep.
And let's mark that.
And I had some ATD board experience as well. So I always love to say ATD Baton Rouge is the very first ATD chapter in the whole world. So we're the oldest chapter. I have been VP of SIGs and Gigs, president-elect, president, past president. I just love this organization so much.
And also, if you do join a chapter, you can volunteer to help one of the board members. That's a great way to volunteer and get some experience as well. So.
I agree.
Last question here. What's your suggestion for a scenario in which your leadership chain has no appetite for innovative ideas to support business goals?
Oh, man, that is so tough. I have been there before as well. What I often say is, what is within my sphere of influence and control to do? So sometimes they don't have the appetite to hear innovative ideas. But my follow-up question would be, do they block them if you do them? Do they stifle you if you are trying something new? If they don't, but they just don't have an appetite to hear and partner with you, then I would try to move forward as much as I can with what I'm allowed to do, what they don't stop me from doing. Another suggestion I might have for you really quick is I would try to find the person who might have leadership ear, whoever I'm trying to impact. Are they close to someone, maybe not as high up as them, who, if I could buy them in a partner with, that they could be an advocate or a sponsor for me to help push an initiative along? I've tried a little bit of everything, but those two things typically work for me.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
What a great session. And again, I'm going to look you up for ATD. We're going to make plans. So, yes. So thank you to everybody who came to this last session. Keep up with the recordings for sure. They're all in the schedule. So the way that works is you just go back to the schedule and you'll see a watch replay for any of the sessions in the week. And then keep a lookout for what's coming next for TLDC. I believe the next conference that we're working on has to do with design. So that could be really great for those of you that are just starting out. And again, thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Rob. That was amazing. And I'm looking forward to NOLA. Can't wait.
Me too. Everybody. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
All righty. Bye. Have a great weekend.
Bye, everybody.